Hello, hello. Thank you all for joining us today. I deeply appreciate Shivani's efforts in making this event happen, and I really want to thank her and all the performers that they felt and they thought it is really necessary to look back and on what they have created. When Shivani told me about this, I have noted down few things why I felt and how I approach this need of revisiting our work. So I'm just going to read out my notes for you. What I create is a part of who I am. Where I create, I'm true to myself. I reflect, I learn, and I unlearn. I strongly believe that as an artist, revisiting the journey I embarked on is deeply moving. There is both a sense of belonging and enduring longing to create. It feels like timber, the wood, lying around to season, make it suitable for use. These movements are just collected, and now they are adjusting their content of that of the environment in which they will be used. I carry what I have created, offering it to the spectator to sever, leave, or carry with them as they please. Yet I choose to live with it. And I'm curious about everybody's journey here, beautiful artists and performers. And I want to know what they think and if they can share their journeys with us.
So she says, you've all spoken in some way about the tensions, conflicts between some of the traditional elements or expectations of your dance forms and your personal values, interests as contemporary practitioners. And that this project enabled you to address some of these complications in your own way. The question is, what institutions or structures of power need to adapt to allow this to happen more? Second question, how would you like to see the opportunities presented by this project continued, extended going forward?
Wow, while I digest, what a brilliant question.
Anyone is free to answer.
What institutions or structures of power need to adapt to allow this to happen more? Producers like Shivani or SAA UK are hard to come by. They wouldn't, most of the time, they give us the pitch and expect us to sort of follow. More conservative institutions would expect us to do the dance in a more conservative way, like the traditional way we have learned, practiced. A lot of institutions would want you to not be too South Asian about it and bring completely different melange of things within the form. And then it's so deconstructed that you don't know if it's at all the essence of the dance is going forward. This project at least allowed me to tread a middle ground. We were improvising a lot, and to follow what Kavya said, there were a lot of negotiations in choosing what we are taking from our form to make the performance. As Maryam said, we were interactive, but then there was not just an interactive element, but there was also an element where you have to sort of watch because it was a dance or a choreography commission, not something else. But that always does not happen. In a lot of community spaces would not adapt to this need of freedom or even artists' vulnerability. But it's something that we can continue to work with as a group of artists who believe that this is a good process to go with. Like I'm hoping us, or but having said that, it's not that we are completely withdrawing ourselves from the classical dance, right? As she said, that we would do amalgam any day. I would do a classical full-on 1 hour repertoire performance any day. But these are few and far between. And I think I've taken one of the questions. extending for going forward, yes, as I mentioned, this is part of a larger production that is coming together slowly. More funding needed, but yeah, it's coming together.
I guess I'll just add one little thing. I mean, I think in terms of like going forward, of course, one way could be to take the same set with different cities, different locations. All of that would be very nice. But also, it would be interesting to see it as a model. Like, okay, this has happened once with one set, one group of artists. Can other people in other cities commission another set of artists to do something in their own way? So rather than just a one-off us, of course, I would love that for that to happen, but also just to see it as a model of production and curation where the artists, the producers, come together in a slightly different arrangement. Like it would be interesting to see jazz, since you asked the question, I'm hinting at you, to see how it could be made possible somewhere else as well. Yeah.
I just have one thing to say. It's about how the first question you asked, which is what structures could allow this to happen more often. I think again in my practice, I have found it quite difficult to navigate when all Kathak is seen as is traditional. All it is seen as is a cultural dance form. So I think we need to find better ways to express what we do, to explain what we do. There is a bit of explaining that happens, which I'm happy to do. I'm happy to maybe introduce someone to a new dance style, but I think we're doing ourselves a bit of a disservice by only using those words as descriptions to our dance styles. And the reason I said I see Kathak more as an artistic practice, I think it helps to then say that it's just an artistic practice. Anybody can learn it. Anybody can engage with it. It's more. I think it enables us to engage with people, a more diverse set of people, maybe a more broader audience. So I think there also needs to be that change in how we are speaking about our dance styles. Without being too precious about some things. That's just my opinions.